The boy's mind drifted to other places, distant worlds and dreamscapes. Anywhere but where he was, anyone other than who he was. Confined to an incommodious classroom where the gray walls and gray curtains upon the gray floor reeked of desperation, and where a stodgy teacher read verbatim an outdated curriculum with the cadence of a dying heartbeat. The restlessness of callous kids, the impatient cawing of hungry birds outside, closed curtains permitting only slits of daylight. So he mooned the faraway fancies extending beyond the borders of his known lugubrious reality, stretching towards the darkened infinite reaches of his imagination. Whether at recess or lunch, he'd hide away and sit in the penumbra of a pine tree and dive deep into his fantasies. Diverse and colorful characters, friends, phantasms so real they occasionally invaded his cold world with a warm smile. The school bell rang, a foreboding wail rattling him from abstract to actuality. Cold sweat crowned his head and drops of warm urine stained his pants. A vociferous swell of bodies engulfed and suffocating. Thunderous stomps of rowdy children springing from desk to door in impatient, chaotic clamor. And so it began. The same salvo of strikes as the days before, slaps to his neck and flicks to his forehead and temples and ears, and children filed past in marching order unbeknownst to the incurious educator. The boy was different, from stuttering tongue to patched clothes, a freak show, and therefore prey for young, untamed, and even savage minds. Reluctant to leave his desk, he was shooed out of the classroom and thrust into the play yard. Screams. There was always screams. Yelling boys, the dissonance of various bouncing balls, the rattling of a chain-link fence. A girl's shriek. The tat-tat-tat of marbles. The squawking of haloing gulls. To his dismay, other children occupied the pine trees, throwing pine cones at one another. He was hopeless. Hugging the walls amongst the shadows, he found the dumpsters behind the cafeteria, and there he crouched and hid like a newborn gazelle in the tall grass, amongst the swarms of flies, a few bees, and the foul stench of sour milk and spoiled food. A red ball bounced against the cafeteria wall and then rolled behind the dumpster to his feet. Oh no. Before he could gently kick the ball away, scurrying children had encircled him. "Oh my God!" a girl shouted. The boys blindly murmuring amongst themselves, anxiously disappearing and reappearing in revolving peaks of curious children. The numbers grew to a surge of curious and stomps, and in an instant they were upon him like a tide. The boy struggled to his feet, but was met with a punch to the back of his head. Fist over fist, kicks and knees, spit and punts. Contents from the dumpster showered him, and he soon reeked of rotted meat. He was shadowed in almost complete darkness as children towered over him. Grinding teeth gleamed weakly through the dark. A girl was so giddy she shrieked in the back. Witch-like laughter hissing and yelps. The boy pleaded for mercy, but his cries only infuriated the mob to ravenous. They yanked and lifted and twisted him like a hair in the mouths of starving wolves. The girl returned in an oscillating horde and kicked the boy in his genitals, screaming at them to pick and rip off his clothes. His shoes were yanked off, his shirt was ripped and torn away, his pants pulled from both legs and waved in the air like a captured enemy flag. They hated him. They wanted him to know they hated him. He needed to know they hated him. He was the reason. He was their epicenter of hate and savagery. They wanted him to hate himself. They wanted him to feel the agony his existence brought them, to recognize they were better. From his hand-me-downs to his stuttering speech, he was not a human but a bell tower freak, Frankenstein's beast, a mutated mutt that needed to be put down. Again, the bell rang, but mutely in ringing ears. His bloody naked body lay wet and stained with all manner of dirt, trash, and sharp stones. Gibbering silently amongst the waste, he attempted to reach far into his imagination, rocking for consoling or escape, but he couldn't find it. He was forced to writhe in the cold, lonely gray. He cried, but not for the pain, but in the shared hatred for who he was. There were no other world or distant friends. There were no friends. He was who they said he was. Class resumed. No one came for him.